what's up guys? Welcome back to Tea with Audrey. I'm TeaWithAudrey, and if you're new here, welcome. I hope that you decide to join the Tea Time tribe by going ahead and hitting that subscribe button and hitting the bell right next to it. Today is Faith Friday. I'm really excited for today's Faith Friday because it's just like the best part of the week for me, because I get to reflect on what God has really placed on my heart to share with you guys. If you don't know what Faith Friday is, every so often I will do a Faith Friday video, which is a video that is geared towards strengthening your faith in God. I know that we make sure that we exercise to strengthen our muscles. You know, I got all these gains, but it's also important to strengthen our spirit. So let's go ahead and get right into it with our verse of the day. Today's Faith Friday is about God's provision, how God provides in ways sometimes we just can't understand. And under God's provision, we are left wanting nothing. So today's verse that goes along with that, the verse of the day, comes from Matthew 6:25-27. And it says, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or stow away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life?" And that is the verse of the day. So the majority of my college career has been riddled with all these crazy different types of obstacles. If I were to tell you about everything I have been through during college, I would be here all week, all year, like maybe for a century, because it's just been a very crazy ride. And I'm not gonna, talk about everything that has happened, because that would just be a very long video. But I wanted to talk about a season in particular where I was working 2 jobs, and I was in classes, and also volunteering in a ministry, a children's ministry. I was a mentor, and as well as a musical leader. So I was a leader of the music department, basically. It was a very fulfilling season, I'll have to say. Like, I met a whole bunch of people, and I think my faith was definitely strengthened. But one incident I had that really strengthened my faith was when I was short money for my tuition. So basically, I was always in the financial aid or bursar office no matter what. Like, the first day of school, I didn't go to class. I went straight to the bursar's office because there was always something wrong with my account. It never failed. I got really irritated and tired of it, honestly. I knew everyone by name. It was like, "Hey Stacy, you check on my account today?" Okay, cool. Like, I was always in somebody's office. So after coming up with a payment plan with one of my financial advisors, I thought I'd solved the problem. We're gonna make ends meet. I'm gonna work these 2 jobs, be in class and be in ministry. Cool, no sleep, who cares? What sleep anymore? This is what I came for. College, coffee, it's synonymous. So with that being said, I decided that I was going to go ahead and continue with my 2 jobs and pay my tuition. So 1 month came around. I want to say it was cold. I want to say it was like November. And I remember walking 3 blocks because I had to, I worked downtown, so I had to walk 3 blocks to get to the mall. And that's because that's where I worked at the time. And I remember when I, walk those 3 blocks, I used to just think and kind of talk to God. And one of the things I noticed is that month I had gotten sick, and some other, class things had come up, with, and when you have an intense curriculum, there's times when you really can't go to work because you have to, get all your homework done, or you have to study for an exam that you didn't think was going to be too hard, but at the last minute you're like, yo, I probably should take a little bit of time to get the information into this thing called the brain. Yes, so that's exactly what I did. So I didn't work as many hours, and I looked at the date and it was close to the time where I had to pay my bill, and I didn't have enough money in my account. So I was like, okay, I'm short. What am I gonna do? And you know how when you have an issue, a problem, you just start to think of ways that you can fix the problem. I'm a problem solver, so I definitely always want to come to a conclusion on how this problem can be solved. You know what I'm saying? We learn in math that every equation can be solved, and sometimes the answer is like it still doesn't really help you, but that's math for you. I don't know much about math, but I know that God, he works outside of human math, okay? So after, praying and also, like, I feel like my effort in praying wasn't immediately. Like, God help me figure out a way to pay this, please provide for me. No, I don't think that was it at all. It was more so like, you know what? Let's list ways that this can be solved, and I'll do prayer. I'll figure out if I can get more hours at work. I'm gonna, try to see if anything was double charged on my account. It was kind of a last ditch effort. Like, I'm gonna check all these things off. So prayer was on the list, so I just might as well pray, right? It wasn't like I was relying on God at all. Like, I definitely did. I just didn't even think to just be at peace with what God was going to do with the situation. I was definitely praying, because I just thought it was something that I should do, and it won't hurt anything. Why not just pray? So as I'm walking to work, those 3 blocks, I'm thinking of all the different possibilities of me making the deficit that I was in, making up the amount of money I was short. So I get close to the crosswalk, and typically when you walk somewhere every day, you don't notice anything new. You're not like, ooh, the birds, look at the clouds, oh, I never noticed that building had like a gold trim on the side. Like, no, you don't really look at any, it's the same routine, you're not looking for anything new. You're just kind of in your head, in your thoughts, whatever. You're oblivious to everything around you, and that's kind of like how I was. So I crossed the street, and I had to go into this store first before I could get to the escalators that lead me into the mall. So I go into the store and go through the other doors that lead me to where the escalators are. So typically, I just get on the escalators and I go up. Well, this time, it's like something was wrong with my shoe or something. I thought I was gonna trip. I don't know. I know I'm super careful at when I get on escalators, because I used to be afraid of escalators, so maybe I was just trying to be careful. I don't know. So I look down at the top of the at the part where I'm gonna put my foot on the escalator, and there was a wad of cash. So I'm thinking, a wad of cash? I really didn't even believe that it was a wad of cash. I just saw green and I was like, what? So I grab it, and I see a guy at the top of the escalator, and I'm like, hey, and I'm trying to call after him. So I start running up the escalator trying to catch him, but he ends up getting off the escalator because he was already at the top when I had just picked up the cash. And he went off the escalator and went into the hotel. And the hotel door, for some reason, it doesn't, I think you have to have a key. If you are staying there, there's a key that you have to use to get in, and I couldn't get in. So it was just he was a goner. So then I decided I'm going to go into work, and I go into work and I tell my manager hey, I found this cash. I think that I should turn it into the police here, or the security. So we call security, and they say, I'm like, can you look at the cameras? Can you track the guy down? I know which hotel he went into. And they're like, I'm sorry, there's no way for us to track him down. And the cameras, we can't look at the cameras because they're actually owned by the mall. So they were like, it's just better that you just keep it because it's not a large amount of money. But to me, it was a large amount of money, because any money, when I lose money, even if it's $5, I'm gonna be thinking about that $5 forever. So I could only imagine if someone lost this amount of cash. And I want to be a person of integrity and good character, so I always want to make sure that I make sure I turn stuff in. If I find it, if I can get it to its original owner, I will do so, because I would want someone to do that for me. I've lost my wallet, I've lost money, and I just know how it feels, so I wouldn't want someone to keep my stuff, if it can be prevented. So I ended up keeping the money because the security said you just need to keep the money, it's yours. And I was so shocked. And when I counted the money, guess how much it was? Well, you guys wouldn't know, but it was $120. That's the amount that I was short that month for the bill. And I was in shock and I was in awe. It was $120 exactly. So, it's funny because I remember thinking, when I was praying about it, I was like, man, money just doesn't fall from the sky. I need to figure out, how I'm going to make things work. And I know that had I, taken on more shifts or, figured out other ways to make money, it would have taken away time for me volunteering in the children's ministry. And I think that, God doesn't want us to rely on our jobs or rely on our means to make money totally, because the reason why we're blessed with opportunities, we're blessed with jobs, we're blessed with money is so that we can help others who might be in need, to help the poor, to help our friends and families when they're in need, and ultimately further the kingdom and put in work for Him. And if I was working more hours, I definitely wouldn't have had time to be in ministry, to help kids. And I was mentoring kids that were at risk, and they really needed me there every single week. It meant so much to the kids to have that consistency that they don't get at home, which is very sad and very unfortunate to think about. So it's important that we trust God, because under His provision, He provides everything that we need and more. And He just gave me a peace that day to understand that, me working 2 jobs and trying to make ends meet for myself and trying to pick up more hours, even though I was already overworked, I was already at my max, that's not what He desires for me. He wants me to be able to provide for myself and to do my part. But when it comes to things that are outside my control, when it comes to things that, I physically cannot do, He'll step in. He will do it every time. All we have to do is go to Him and ask. What if He loves the birds? If He can take care of the birds, He can take care of us. So I challenge you to definitely go read Matthew 6:25-34. It just blessed me. And when I look back at that season where I was doubting God and worried about how I was going to, pay my tuition and pay for other things, because I was struggling, honestly, financially, I look back and I think, in this season too, God can do the same thing. And in this current season, I'm not working 2 jobs. I'm not stressed about a job, but I've seen God provide, because I know that if He can do it then, He can definitely do it now. I don't know if you guys noticed that I was looking a little flyer than normal. Today's video is brought to you by ChristLife.